Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask that everyone stay standing for a moment of silence, both for the anniversary of D-Day, 1944, and also this is the first time that we've met as a committee since the tragic events in Texas. So if we can keep all those in our thoughts. Thank you. All right, welcome to the Attleboro School Committee meeting of Monday, June 6th, 2022. This is your notice and reminder that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Let's start tonight with a spotlight event, which is on the civics projects that are taking place at the high school and middle schools here in Attleboro. And to kick us off, I will turn it over to Ms. Regan.
Thank you, Chairman Withers. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of the elected officials, including yourselves, and members of our community that met with our students or even emailed with them several times as they engaged in their Action Civics projects over the past couple of weeks. The time that you dedicated to them answering their questions is deeply appreciated, so thank you so much to everyone who joined in their conversations. I also want to thank our civics teachers. They have worked closely together with each other, aligning their curriculum and supporting our students through the process, which is what this is all about, them understanding the Action Civics process. And without them, these projects and this evening would not be possible. So why are we here tonight, and why is this, an Action Civics project spotlight? Our goal in Attleboro has always been to engage our students in authentic learning experiences that intrinsically motivate them to continue to keep on learning. And in 2018, when Chapter 296 took effect, it promoted and enhanced civic engagement. And so this was something that we had been doing for quite some time, and so it was definitely something that we wanted to continue to participate in. The Act requires that schools provide students with a nonpartisan, student-led civic project, one that's in 8th grade, which you'll see from each middle school this evening, and one from the high school. Students complete these projects either individually or in small groups or class-wide. And it's designed for students to analyze complex issues, consider differing viewpoints, reason, and make logical arguments, supporting their claims, engaging in civil discourse, and even with those who have opposing positions, and demonstrating an understanding of the connections between federal, state, and local policies. So the students that are here tonight have worked really hard on their projects, and to get us started, we wanted to, I first would like to introduce Miss Brenda Swintack. She's our K-12 Humanities Coordinator, and then she will take it from there.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us. I first want to say thank you for being part of this process, because part of the Action Civics process is public showcasing. So what better way to showcase with all of you here today? And this morning, I also wanted to share a little plug. You might have already seen it on Facebook, but we had a high school group presenting at the Massachusetts Civics Day in Boston. And they came away with an award out of 100 projects. There were 5 presented, so we want to put a little kudos to them. And I'd also like to take a moment to introduce our teachers that are here with us today. We have Doreen Baracco in the back. We say hello, Doreen.
Hi, everyone.
We have Eric Duquette, and we have Charles Lemire. So thank you for coming and bringing your students with us. Our first project that we're going to highlight today is from the high school. So if we could have Annie come on up. This is Annie Cooney, and she's going to share with you her project that she worked on at the high school.
Hi, thank you for having me. So I think I'll start with a little bit of background. I have a deaf brother. He's back there. So I've always been really into like advocacy and that sort of thing. So I started taking ASL at the high school, And one of the projects that I started doing was ASL, like deaf and something in the community. So I took criminal justice here at the high school for 3 years, and I was really interested in that, so I wanted to look into deaf and the criminal justice system. So I did a lot of research, and I made my project centered around motor vehicle stops and the court system and jail and what is done for deaf individuals as far as the legal system goes. I presented this to my criminal justice class. I worked closely with Officer Brennan Bulger from Bristol Community Sheriff's Office. He was great. He helped me get more information. He went deaf as a child, so that's how he started learning ASL and was also really into advocating for this. He also was able to get a communication device called the Ubiduo 3 that they are using at Bristol County Sheriff's Office now. They started implementing it, so it's basically like a little computer. They hook up to each other and they can work up to 10 feet in distance, and it helps with communication, so people can type like what's going on. If it's like a motor vehicle stop or a like trauma incident, they can type what's going on, and it's just an easier way of communication. So they trained the officers in those, and they're using them out now, actually. So yeah, I introduced this to my class, and we brought in the Ubiduo 3 and had everyone like try it out and communicate with it, and yeah, that was my project.
Very nice.
Oh, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have Brennan students, come on up. Introduce yourselves. Can you help me bring the board?
Yep.
We can put this right back. Oops. How's that? There you go.
Thank you so much for having us. My name is Yasmin Carvalho,
And I'm Diana Bermudez.
and this is our Action Civics project on the importance of bilingual education in middle schools. Our initial thought was to immediately incorporate it into our curriculum, but we took a step back and we researched and gathered information, and we noticed that many kids didn't understand the importance of having a foreign language or knowing one. And we even started wondering, why do we call it foreign language? Because we looked up the definition, and the definition of foreign is strange and unfamiliar, implying that it doesn't belong in our schools. And we have it at the high school, and a lot of people were wondering, like, why incorporate it into the middle school? But the middle school, central to the middle school philosophy is the belief that middle school is not merely the continuation of elementary school, but rather a unique entity with a mission of its own. Early adolescence is a time of exploration, which is good for learning foreign language. Foreign language enhances thinking and neuroplasticity in the brain, opens many opportunities, and forms new relationships.
This is the data we collected from a survey we sent out to students at Brennan, and 84% of the students said yes to adding bilingual education into our curriculum, but 15% did say no. And we noticed that the 15% who said no were 5th and 6th graders. And in our survey, we did receive some concerning responses. A comment which said no to bilingual education because this is America and we only speak English. As we can see, students are closed-minded and don't think about the world around them, a world filled with different cultures and languages. This world would be super boring if we all came from the same culture or spoke the same language. Many kids are living in the now and probably don't find a reason to study a new language. And nowadays there are translating apps which people tend to gravitate towards instead of learning even just a little bit of a language. We interviewed students from Foxborough who do have bilingual education in their curriculum, and they talk about how it was an amazing opportunity for them and how it benefits them in and out of schools. At Brennan, we also interviewed staff and administrators who also believe that adding bilingual education would be a positive experience for students. Mrs. Santos, an ELL teacher, said, "It has been proven that learning a second language would help advance our minds and nation." As I said earlier, what makes up our nation is different people with different backgrounds from around the world.
A disadvantage of not learning foreign language is that neuroplasticity decreases as a person gets older. It is flexible until around 12 years old. Multilingual education actually increases neuroplasticity. After 12, it'll be hard to learn a foreign language, and you will never get that opportunity you had when you were younger ever again.
Some of the advantages of learning a second language include more respect towards a person who has a different ethnicity. It improves your memory and listening skills, and you engage more effectively in a multicultural world.
Enhancing the diversity in our schools. Charlotte, a student at the University of New Hampshire, states that learning a new language is extremely rewarding. She strongly encourages it in public schools. She says that language allows for experiences of richness and depth, and also engaging those who might seem different from you will help you realize that kindness exists all over the world, and there is no reason to fear those who don't share your culture.
Knowing a second language has definitely helped me in communicating with my family and also with people within my culture. For example, when I travel to Guatemala, it's a really great feeling to be able to understand what other people are saying and also reply to them while speaking the language. And learning another language is also something I would definitely want to do.
Multilingual education has helped me from a young age to value the diversity in the world around me. And since I already spoke 2 languages at home, it opens so many new opportunities and possibilities.
We originally believed that we could right away add bilingual education into our curriculum, but we thought it through and decided that even just bringing an awareness to this issue is just as important. And we even talked with Dr. Souza of possibly coming back next year and talking to the 5th and 6th graders about this issue, because we want people to understand and value this issue as much as we do.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Students from Coelho Middle School.
Hello, so I'm Victoria,
I'm Kylie.
And I'm Annie.
and here is our CMS Civics project on our CMS law regarding an advisory and an improvement of mental health period.
For this bill, we use six-step processes to create the bill. We use examining self and civic identity, identifying an issue, researching and investigating, developing an action plan, taking action, reflecting, and showcasing.
Examining self and civic identity. Each class was split into groups from here. Even groups had opportunities to brainstorm problems with solutions to them. In this performance task, students considered how the law would be enforced.
Identifying an issue. Each group had an idea for a bill. One person from each group presented their ideas to the class. Then, the class voted for which bill to continue developing. The bill that received the most votes included a mandatory advisory period, as well as training/professional development for teachers to learn about mental health.
Researching and investigating. The groups came together to make ideas for the bill. Afterwards, students had come to a vote as for which bill should be chosen. For the research, one of the sites we used was Google Scholar. Every student from each group had to find different statistics and facts to put into the bill.
Developing an action plan. Throughout this planning process, we planned out our ideas on a graphic organizer, breaking down the bill. Next, we had group discussions, which allowed everyone to share out different ideas. This allowed us to have a variety of ideas in the advisory.
Taking action. During the taking action process, groups created individual ideas for our laws. We then voted on our bills and had to create a presentation, for example, a slideshow presentation, a pamphlet, or an interview. 2 classes combined their ideas, an advisory period, and mental health education in order to create one law.
Reflecting and showcasing. After writing this bill, it showed us how much hard work was put into into the making of a well-written presentation. It is important that having an advisory period at the end of each school day. The easiest part of the writing process was sharing out our ideas with our group mates, and the most difficult part was making specific details in our school and in our community. We will continue to make meaningful changes.
Our bill 2. Our bill will provide several benefits for students within the school. For example, a mandatory advisory period will assist students with their knowledge of mental health and train teachers to recognize if mental health problems arise. 7th and 8th grade students will be involved with this law, and as well as all teachers grades 5 to 8.
Specifics of our bill. Teachers will be trained to recognize if students need help with a mental health crisis such as anxiety. Topics as such will be what teachers are going to educate students on during advisory periods. Trainings will be established prior to the 2022 to 2023 school year, and professional development meetings over the year will help to prepare teachers for these periods. And each class period will be shortened by 4 minutes in order to accommodate to a 20-minute advisory period. This can create a safe setting for students, help students complete their work, and this will create a positive environment for students and set them up for a successful future.
Our research. To get the data, we ran a poll for 7th and 8th grade students, and they took a survey to see if they thought it would be beneficial to have an advisory period at the end of the school day. 84.4% said that they would like to learn about mental health, and 82.6% said that having a daily advisory period would be beneficial. There have been other studies that have shown the rate of completed homework to incompleted homework with help in an advisory class.
Why this law is important. All individuals deal with their own mental health issues. It is beneficial for students and teachers to be educated on mental health topics in order to become aware of how to settle issues around you. Advisory periods can help set students up for success for high school careers and beyond. Given they have time to finish work and learn emotional and social skills.
How we measure success. The results of this law would be reviewed towards the end of the 2022 to 2023 school year in order to ensure it is put into full effect for the following year. Benchmarks for success are that teachers will be educated on mental health in order to better handle situations that may arise. This bill will help to improve grades in mental health.
Thank you for listening.
Msba students?
Good evening, my name is Elmer Vidal.
I'm Jonathan Aguirre Medina.
I'm Brianna Johnson.
I'm Louisa Harry, and we're 8th graders at Msba Middle School. Our topic is access to higher education and making college education more affordable. We care about this topic deeply because as a person growing up in low-income areas, I've seen the brightest people give up on their future simply because they couldn't afford a college education. We believe that everybody deserves a debt-free future.
I'm sure we are all aware now that college grows expensive over time. And data over the past 20 years have proven this for both public and private schools. Not only that, but people are worried about falling into debt and give up on the idea of college altogether. So what would be the solution to this? Free college. But the problem with free college is that it doesn't get nearly as enough as funding. But it's free, right? Beggars can't be choosers. Not only that, it doesn't look nearly as good as compared to other universities, as Harvard. Giving people with money or with better advantages compared to others, making it unequal for every person. Now, some data that we have discovered throughout our project is that 1/3 of Americans deal with debt throughout college. Not only that, but as of 2021, debt has increased at a high $4,900.
And as of 2022, the average dropout rate percentage for undergraduate students has reached 40%, in which a collective total of $3.1 billion are lost yearly due to these college dropout rates.
To learn more, I contacted Boston University Financial Aid Office and asked them questions about college debt. I've come to learn that even though there are many financial aid programs, people still graduate with significant debt.
And I myself contacted Harvard's Financial Aid Office program, and I found out that the expected contribution family formula is way too expensive for families.
Although we understand we may not be able to solve this issue, my group is trying to bring awareness to the community high schools to introduce the topic on offering scholarships to people who are unstable financially and who struggle with college debt. We created a poster and political cartoon to introduce our topic and bring an awareness to our topic to everybody about our local issue. Thank you for your time.
So thank you. That was one representative from the high school and our 3 middle schools. You can see they did a lot of research along the way, engaged themselves pretty deeply in the process, and will continue to work on these projects moving forward. But I think I'm really, really proud of all of our students that presented tonight. So thank you, everyone, to our students and our families. Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the committee? Mr. Domenici?
Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for coming, and I mean, every one of these topics, I took notes from all. I'm fascinated by them. They represent truly the issues of the day. So many folks are talking about affordability of higher education, mental health. I mean, you can't look anywhere in the news without seeing time and time again what happens when we don't address mental health issues, and it really does start, in the schools, and it starts younger and younger, I feel like, as we move on. I've always been an advocate. I work for a global company. I've got colleagues over in Europe that speak 4, 5, 6 different languages, so I'm a huge fan, and I think most people are. Like anything else, they all tie together to funding and availability and opportunity. I literally, on my way over here, my next door neighbor was saying, you need to get French back in schools. Like, this is such a timely discussion. And I was fascinated. I'm a big fan of Toby Reed's criminal justice program. It goes in so many different directions, and you took it in a very specific one that was meaningful and personal to you. I'd love for these folks to come back. I think we have subcommittees that every one of these categories could probably fit into, where we could see the presentations and kind of to follow up to see where the next steps go with these. So I'm blown away by the effort, and I'd love to see where the next steps go. Bless you. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you. Mr. Larson?
I think what the students can learn from their instructors and teachers in the classroom is amazing, but I also love it when they're engaged to go outside of the classroom and find information out in the world. And whether that's interviewing people or calling different companies or institutions or just doing research outside of the schools, it opens up the world to all of them. And they need that desperately, in my opinion. I mean, I think having the students engage the world as early as possible is a great thing. So I'm very happy for all of you in the work that you've done. Thank you.
Mr. Geddes?
Thank you, and just to extend that a little further, not just to engage the world, but to engage the world for the sake of changing it is the critical piece that we're trying to set students up to do. And you all are off to a great start, and this was a great first round of practice. so definitely keep it up, especially middle schoolers as you move into the new building next year. And for the next 4 years, absolutely continue that dedication to what you want to see change. Thank you all for coming.
Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Withers. So my comments are going to piggyback pretty much on my colleagues as well about engagement. You see so often in the media and on social media people feeling disengaged, feeling like they don't have power to make change. And as you are learning, yes, you can get involved, you can become engaged, and you can make change. And it's important to stay involved. And also to learn that, especially at the local level, your officials are your community members. They're your neighbors. They're the parents of some of your fellow students. So just remember that your government should always be accessible to you, and keep up this great work. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just close by thanking all of you, the students who were brave enough to get up and speak before us and did a great job, and the educators who helped them along the way. I think it shows, when you give students a project that they're passionate or interested in, they could really dig deep in some of the things that, we heard them talk about that they did, reaching out to, local members of the community, reaching out to colleges, reaching out to the sheriff's office, and interacting with members of the public to get information, and then to try and come up with ways to solve a problem is really key. And coming up with solutions, and then presenting it here in front of a room full of adults is certainly a daunting task. So it's really a great lesson and opportunity, and one that you should all be proud. You did a great job. So thank you all very much. All right, next up we have our business report. Mr. Sawyer, you're up.
Thank you, Chairman Withers. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer for a second shift to come in. Tonight we're doing some introductions. As you can tell by the fact that we've repacked the house, we have quite a few introductions that we owe you. And as promised, today was the day we wanted to get to that. We do have quite a few new faces. We also have some old faces in new places. We wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of all of our moves. There's so much to keep track of, though. We made the decision that we're going to handle the high school on a different night because that not only involves some hiring, but also a reorganization that we want to explain. So we'll be doing that in a meeting to come, either in the late summer, early fall. We'll handle that one. And then due to illness, we're not going to be able to do Thatcher this evening, so we'll do that one as well. And we're still hiring, so there's a couple more positions to come. So this is not the complete work, but wanted to get you guys up to speed on quite a bit. And I wanted to start by saying that we were remiss in getting all our introductions done last year. We had some late hires and never got around to bringing those people in. So I want to start by calling up Arnold Charmilao and Ashil Yangambi, our assistant principals that we hired at our middle schools last year. Arnold is at Brennan and Ashil is at Coelho. They come join the table. I have them being introduced by their principals.
All right. Right here, this is Arnold Charmilao. He's also referred to by the kids as Mr. C. Mm-hmm. Interestingly, we actually both had a similar career, pathway. Arnold came via Randolph, Fall River, like myself, and also worked in New Bedford. His most notable work has been with the UMass Scholars Program, the Urban Scholars Program. He's done a lot of work there and really paving the pathway from Boston Public students that kind of level the playing field, giving them access to supports to get them into college. So first generation, low-income students. So he's done a lot of work. And we're fortunate. He's a relationship builder at Brennan. He has come in. He's out and about, highly visible. We love his energy. He keeps me on my toes. He keeps the kids on their toes. And at the end of the day, he's here to support students and the staff. So we're really fortunate to have Arnold a part of the Brennan community and Attleboro. So this is our man, Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
So I have to say, I absolutely love working here and working with Dr. Souza and Mrs. Sawyer. It's been a tremendous year so far, and I cannot wait to see what future years are going to bring.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm happy to introduce Mr. Ashil Yangabi. The reason he was hired, obviously, because he's well-dressed. He looks better than I tonight. So a year ago, we went through the interview process, which was a great process for Ashil and I to go through together, interviewing him. He came with a wealth of knowledge and background. Ashil, like the two of these gentlemen, did start off in the Randolph Public Schools also as a math and science coordinator. I think he actually took Fred's job when Fred left Randolph. So
Pipeline.
What's that?
Pipeline.
Pipeline, a direct pipeline. So Ashil came with a wealth of knowledge in regards to curriculum and instruction, and he was at South Shore Charter School as the science and math curriculum coordinator K-12. So we knew last year we needed some curriculum instruction help, and Ashil was that person. In a year's time, he really has been hands-on with the kids and the families. He's really just put both feet on the ground and started running from day one. I know it's not the easiest to work with me all the time, but he's definitely demonstrated that he has an Attleboro mentality and he's willing to work. The kids, the relationships, the relationship building in just this short year that we've had really shows the testament as him as his character and who he is as a person. One of the other things that we loved about Ashil being part of the district, he's also a parent of 2 children in the district. So he does have a direct connection to the Attleboro Public Schools. So we're just happy to have him, and I'm glad we've had a great year together, so I want to wish him the best.
Thank you, Andy. And thank you, everyone, for having me here. It's been a great year so far, and I'm so happy to be here. I've been part of this community for over 10 years. Like Andy said, I have kids in this community, but I'm really passionate about the job. I'm really passionate about education. Really passionate about all students, the lifelong journey, and the impact as educators that we have on the kids. As an educator, as a parent, the goal is to help our kids grow in many ways more than just academics, and that's what I'm here for, and I look forward to many years ahead. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you both. The middle school is a tough time for kids. As a parent of 2 middle schoolers at Brennan, as it is, it's crucial that we have, that they have the support, and it's such a crucial position that we need to fill. And everything I've heard about the two of you has been great for this past year, and I look forward to continuing to work with you because we need it. And thank you for all you do for the kids and helping the administration and staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now call up Lisa Boyle and Lori Santarpio. As you all know, when Joanne accepted to come up as the Director of Social Emotional Learning, that created a pretty large vacancy at Studley, and it was late in the year, so we decided to go with an interim position, and Lisa, answered the call and stepped in and has been in the job since. I should point out that she is a 20-year veteran of the Attleboro Public Schools. Like Lori and myself, I think she considers herself to have grown up in the schools. She started as a classroom teacher, was a coach, became an assistant principal, and now she is principal. It was an interim job, and she was certainly taking a risk by entering into that arrangement, but that risk was repaid. Her staff embraced her leadership, and when we sat down to meet with the search committee to discuss what they wanted to do, it was very clear that it was a unanimous decision that they wanted to formalize that arrangement and not even go out and do any sort of search. So that's a real testament to the good work that she's already done, and we're very happy to have her serving in this role, and excited for the work to come.
Thank you. Yeah, I am wrapping up my 20th year, as Mr. Sawyer just said, and they've all been at Studley. I consider Studley my second home. I have grown up there right out of college and have worked my way up, and it's like a family there. Our staff, our students, our families. It's the heart of what I do. I live and breathe that place, and I just want the very best for them. So thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to what's to come in the future. I would like to formally introduce Lori Santarpio as the assistant principal at Studley. We've been working together this year, but as Mr. Sawyer said, we didn't get the chance to introduce her earlier, so I would like to introduce her and explain a little bit about why we have had such a great year together. Her knowledge of special education and student services allow her to meet the needs of students and their families in a way that is like I've never seen before. She has a gift to have the difficult conversations with families and make them feel at ease, and really just I've learned a lot from her in this area, and together I think we push each other to be better versions of ourselves. We're constantly pushing each other, our thinking, trying to do new things. We both have the fault of thinking we don't help each other out enough, and so we're constantly helping each other to see that what we both do contributes to the whole and the success of the school. We come to the table with different strengths. Like I said, I have curriculum, she has student services, special education, and through our work together, we really make a complete package and meet the needs as best we can. So I'm beyond excited to work with Lori, and I hope that, I know that we will do great things, and I am confident that that will happen, and I look forward to see what the years ahead will bring. Lori.
When Lisa says that Studley is a family, she really means that. I have never felt more welcomed, more at home, more in my element than I have this past school year. It truly is a pleasure to work with Lisa. She has a brilliant mind, and she just really pushes everyone's thinking in a way that it benefits students. Students are at the forefront of every decision that is made. We are very self-reflective on what we do, and we welcome input from families, we welcome input from teachers. It truly is a collaborative environment, and I feel just very honored to be part of Studley, and I can't wait to see what we do too, so I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you both, and congratulations. It's not welcome for either of you, because I know you've been here before, but as Mr. Sawyer alluded to, you walked into pretty large shoes to fill, and by all accounts, it's gone swimmingly. So very happy with to have you leading Studley, and look forward to working with you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like it was just not that long ago that we were being introduced to Lisa as the assistant.
Yeah.
So I think it was a couple of years now. It just went by in a blink.
She's ready. She's ready.
Thank you.
I'll now call up Noah Collins and Amy Traficante. So Noah has been with us for 2 years, which means that you joined us right at the start of the pandemic. I mean, that was a heck of a time to make a move. When that search committee convened, Tricia conveyed to them that while she hadn't picked a time for retirement, it was known that her retirement was, something on the horizon. And so that committee very intentionally said that they needed to go out and find someone that they thought had the potential to step into that role when Ms. Martin decided to eventually hang it up. And so it made a lot of sense that they valued experience, someone who already had a sense of how to be an administrator, and we were very lucky to find Noah to come in as an experienced administrator from Milford. He did have to make the adjustment from middle school to elementary, which I think he's very brave for doing, but he seemingly has figured it out, because again, when it came time to put that committee together and talk about how they wanted to proceed with their search, again, the staff were unanimous in stating that they already had their principal. They were very happy with the job he had done. And again, that's, they've never known him pre-pandemic, so that's pretty impressive to have earned their trust and faith through all of this. I would also say that Noah, in his short time with us, has really established himself as a resource among his colleagues in the administration. There are a lot of people who look to Noah for advice, and he's a real addition to our team. We're happy to have him.
Thank you. I want to thank the school committee, Superintendent Sawyer, Assistant Superintendent Regan, and the staff at Hyman Fine for taking a chance on me 2 years ago. Interviewing over Zoom, and I get to come in and see each other. Kind of first time you get to see me was in person, like a little too late at that point, but it's not a bad thing. But I'm very, very happy and thankful for how things have worked out, especially having the confidence of the staff moving on to the next position as principal and kind of starting a new chapter. With that being said, it's the biggest decision so far, even though I'm not quite principal yet, was to hire my replacement, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mrs. Amy Traficanti. We were joking outside. I'm not sure how much you remember or not remember, because it was a very brief Zoom when I introduced myself, but 20-something years ago, I started my teaching career in Attleboro at Brendan Middle School, and then a year over at Msba. So I came back home, and we were joking outside with Lisa and Lori about started at Attleboro, you come back in Attleboro. But Amy has also started earlier in her career in Attleboro. She taught first and second grade over at Thatcher for a few years, but she's currently a reading specialist. She's been a curriculum coordinator, trying to use my cheat sheets, I apologize. Instructional coach, district ELL coordinator, and has taught the retail facilitator course. And I'm sure I've missed a bunch of different things, but I'm very excited for this opportunity for the both of us to kind of start a new chapter over at Hyman Fine.
You did good.
Thank you.
You
All right.
just know what I was going to
I'm
say,
sorry,
though.
I should have asked.
You think about what you want to say, and it's such a pleasure to be here. And I wanted to start by saying, this is a homecoming for me. I always say, and I started every interview I had with, everything I learned about teaching, I learned in Attleboro. And it is true. All of my core beliefs, the foundation was built here. And I am so excited to come back and, finish my career here. And normally this time of year you count down the days till the end of the school year, and I'm not doing that. I'm counting down the days till July 1st, or maybe right after the 4th, as soon as I can, get over here and start at Hyman Fine. And the staff have been incredible, and all of the administrators have been so kind and supportive, and I really can't wait to get started. So I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm very grateful for it.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. Go ahead, Ms. Porter.
No, I just wanted to say, being a Hyman Fine parent, we're all very excited for the new.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Can't wait. Yeah, one more year in Hyman Fine, but it'll be nice.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll now call up Evan Chelman and Kristen Skeffington. So, Evan's been with us for 4 years. We grabbed him from Franklin, where he was a classroom teacher, and brought him in to support Frank's work. And I have to say that Evan's relationship skills and his culture building has really been a key part of the good work we've been doing at Hill Roberts in making that the strong school that it is today. And he's been rewarded with that when that group met, they felt like they had their principal when we decided to move Frank. So we're very lucky that he's had the chance to be there and to learn with Frank, but also to help to build that with his own two hands and get to take that over now. We're very excited for where he's going to take Hill Roberts next.
Thank you. This is a very reflective night for me, being here 4 years ago in front of many of you, when I was told that I was the second elementary assistant principal, and hopefully it worked out. And if you looked behind us tonight, the number of ears we have to listen to staff and students and families now, right? And the number of brains we have to help guide based on that listening. It's just something that when you have a teammate someone you can bounce ideas off of, someone who can tell you, hey, I heard this, what do you think we can do about it? You have, twice the opportunity to capitalize on any given situation. So for me, as someone who used to have one partner and now my text thread has several, and we're so much better for that in the district. So just had to mention that. Huge thank you to Frank, someone who had to take the AP role and kind of help guide me through it to what it became. And then also to the staff as well, very appreciative of them, giving me their vote of confidence moving forward. Speaking of which, had, just like Noah, the opportunity to reflect with the current principal around like what's next for the building. And what a gift, right? Hiring is a gift. And so when it came time to open up and look for the next assistant principal at Hill Roberts, we thought about the qualities and competencies of someone that we would like to have in that role and really think hard about what was next. So I would like to introduce to you Kristen Skeffington. And Kristen was an elementary teacher. I think it's so fascinating that due to, I believe, some cuts and things like that, her principal at one point, out of thin air, created a position for her so that she could not leave Plainville, where she was, and became the student support specialist. So to think that someone made a position so that you wouldn't go and you could stay is pretty phenomenal. Also assistant principal in Taunton for a brief stint, and now finds herself as the interim principal at an elementary school in Plainville. So thinking about that work that we wanted to do and what was next, knowing that she's coming to us with an extensive knowledge of SEL practices, restorative practices, PBIS framework development and management. When you talk about collaboration, it's not just with colleagues and counterparts, it's with families and with students as well. I would say the main thing that struck me in my finalist interview and some of our walkthroughs was Kristen's thoughtfulness and ability to reflect. And that's really what I think drew me and our staff towards her. So, Kristen Skeffington, welcome.
That was nice.
Thanks.
Very sweet. So I am, just like everybody else, super excited to be here. Excited for the opportunity to collaborate, to learn from this administrative team, to bring some experiences, but to also learn as well. And I know there's some big shoes to fill here, and I'm fortunate that he's going to be around to help guide me as well. And I had an opportunity to stop by the school last week and spend a little time in the morning, and just like everybody said, so welcoming. So I felt so comfortable. Actually, when I left, I felt like, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Like it was just like that sort of experience. So I'm honored, and I feel privileged to be here. Excited about what's going to happen in the future, and looking forward to collaborating and working with everybody at Hill Roberts.
Very good.
Thank you. I look forward to working with both of you. I'm happy to see the continuity at Hill Roberts. It's it's crucial, especially at a school like Hill Roberts, our neighbor elementary school. So the fact that there's some continuity there, I think will be huge, and the fact that you've developed that support amongst the staff, I think speaks volumes. So wish you the best of luck and look forward to working with you. Thank you both.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now call up Stephanie Forte. Sure. That's right.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good to see you all. I don't have a school, obviously. I have all the schools. So I'm pleased to introduce Stephanie Forte, and I think some of you know her. As our new Assistant Director of Special Education, Stephanie will be focusing on grades 8 and up until kids kind of leave us. And while the majority of our students are here at the high school, we do have a growing population at ACA and also AVA. And the majority of our kids in Otter District are actually at the high school level. So a little bit about Stephanie. Stephanie has been here in Attleboro for the last 10 years. She started as a special education teacher. Her most recent position has been transition specialist, which makes a lot of sense, particularly what she brings to the assistant director role, that knowledge, those relationships with our community partners, with the different agencies, but just her institutional knowledge here, her experiences here at the high school level. Stephanie has also, she's actually been in the position since April. We couldn't wait till July 1 with all the changes coming to the high school, the structural changes, the schedule, the administrative changes, in addition to the big move over. So we just felt it was the right time for her to come on board. Stephanie, what always impresses me about Stephanie, she's probably a bigger workaholic than I am. She's also an Attleboro resident, has a little one, but she follows up in a timely manner, reaches out not only to families but students and staff, checking in, making sure. She came on to the coordinator position here at the high school right before COVID, and kind of, we kind of went into it together and kind of redefined what special education was, particularly here at the high school, and what that meant for our kids here at the high school. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and she can kind of say a few things.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I apologize. I'm cutting over a cold from my little one. Like Yvonne said, I'm just really excited for the opportunity. The evolution of the role has been exciting, to say the least, especially with the big move and all the changes. I'm really looking forward to that. It's been a really tough couple of years just in this type of a role. I have to thank all of the high school special education staff, because you have to surround yourself with, highly intelligent and capable people, and that they are. I would not be where I am right now without them. So everything that they've gone through, we've gone through together through this pandemic, and I owe a lot to them for everything that they've done to get us here. I'm really excited to kind of bridge the transitional gap between 8th grade up to the high school, and really bring some consistency amongst all of our different programming, all the way up through 12 plus and our out of district AVA and ACA. We've got a lot of exciting opportunities, so I'm just looking forward to working with all of you and continuing the work that we've already started. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, and thank you for starting already and for all the work you've done. It's certainly the work in the special education is crucial for our students, and the number of students that need those services, and ensuring they get those is of the utmost importance. And the times that we've gone through the last couple of years, it's certainly not going to get better for a while. So appreciate everything you do, and adding to the supports we can give our students. So thank you. Welcome. Mr. DeMinci.
It's good to put a face with the name I see over and over and over again. Every weekly update. Stephanie's here. Stephanie's doing this. Stephanie has engaged here. Stephanie and Yvonne, and I'm like, I need to meet Stephanie. It's just like, I feel like you've been here a lot longer than you have in the role that you're in. So
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you in front of us tonight.
It's nice to meet you all finally. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our final group this evening, I'm going to call up Kevin Atkinson, Andrew Ben Harris, and Paul Madden. Now, Kevin got a half introduction a couple months ago when it was the night of his spotlight, so I feel like I owe him the other half. Maybe together it counts. As you all know, Kevin was the AP at Coelho. In that role 6 years, 5 years? 5 years. So this is your sixth. And it was through our work with him in that role that, we knew that Kevin was ready to be a principal, and actually worried quite a bit about, the idea that maybe he would decide that before we had a spot for him. So when the opportunity opened up, he was the only person we thought of to step in and do the interim role at Wamsutta. We knew that would go well. We were very confident. And as I believe I relayed that last time he was here, again, not only was it a unanimous sentiment of that faculty that they had their principal already, the discussion was not about whether or not he was the right man for the job. It was about them chiding me not to screw it up. So pretty strong statement about the kind of work that he does and how much his efforts are appreciated. So we're very happy to have him to be able to retain his skills and to do the good work that's necessary over at Wamsutta.
Thank you. So I'm very pleased tonight that I am able to introduce two new assistant principals, which is going to be a huge help to Wamsutta Middle School. And I have to say, I know he's not here tonight, but I wanted to thank Doug Heel, my current assistant principal, who's moving on to the high school, and I'm going to miss him. I mean, he was a great resource for me in my first year as a principal, just having a veteran assistant principal in there to help me in my first year was just a huge asset. So, but he's still in the district, so he's not far away. But as Noah said earlier, a lot of people, once you start in Attleboro, you come back. So I'll start by introducing Andrew Ben-Harris. Many of you know him already. So he's currently the assistant principal at the community school in North Attleboro. And I've known Andrew for a number of years. When I was at Coella, he worked with me on days when either me or Andy Bowles couldn't be in the building. He would be the first person who would come down to help out in the office area. We always knew he had administrative potential, so when he applied for this position after I knew Doug was leaving, I was very excited and happy that the committee put him forward. So he has a great experience with operations, with humanities. He has two young children who I know will be Attleboro High grads someday, bleeding blue. So I'm very happy to welcome him back to the Attleboro community.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you all for having me back. Thank you to Assistant Superintendent Laurie Regan and Superintendent Dave Sawyer. I'm really excited to be back. I feel like I won the lottery. Attleboro is a really special community. I've learned from a lot of people in this very room. I was lucky enough to be able to go over to the neighboring community and experience 3 wonderful years at North Attleboro Community Elementary School. And I really feel that I'm able to apply what I've learned about early child development and apply that to the middle school atmosphere. I'm really excited to be back in my element and working with middle school kids. So thank you again, and I'm really looking forward to partnering with Kevin and Paul. Thank you.
So thanks, Andrew. I'm also very happy to introduce Dr. Paul Madden. So again, we were very fortunate. My search committee felt very fortunate to be able to hire 2 candidates, because honestly it would have been very difficult to choose between the 2 of them, so it was very fortunate that we didn't have to. In interviewing Paul, it was just very interesting background, experience with the Boston Public Schools, experience at the college level at Boston College and currently Connecticut College, and also experience doing his administrative internship with the Foxborough Public Schools. Just very interesting background. And in calling his references, it was interesting when I was calling Paul's references, I mean, just absolutely glowing, and some of them including Kate Campbell, the current the AHS principal for next year, just nothing but glowing things to say about Paul, and just his strength with math, and I think that'll be a nice balance with Andrew and curriculum. But also, when he was interviewing, he talked about really personal connections with his students in Boston, talking about playing in the bridge club, going to some of their baseball games, like really trying to make the family connection. And so it was more than just the academic piece. He really wanted to build relationships, and that's something that I think the 3 of us are going to really try to enhance or build upon next year, is just building the relationships at Wamsutta. So I'm really looking forward to next year and beyond. So, gentlemen, I can't wait. It's going to be a fun ride.
Thank you, Kevin, and certainly excited to work with both you and with Andrew and certainly the leadership team here. Attleboro feels like a place to me that really values community, really values academic excellence, but also, I heard the word a lot, like engagement, fun. Those are things that I hadn't heard everywhere I was interviewing. And so for me, it was really compelling to come here. For me, relationships are huge. A lot of folks focus on my PhD in math education, but if students aren't ready socio-emotionally, and if the relationships aren't there, they're not going to learn a whole lot, and we're not going to be able to do the best work. And so I feel like, the partnership we have here, I feel so excited to be a part of this team and to build the relationships and really make Attleboro my home district. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you all. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. thank all three of you. Look forward to working with you. I'm excited that to have a middle school with two assistant principals as we work towards getting the district, with the proper level of administration. It's an important step. So I'm glad that we found such qualified candidates, and look forward to working with all of you and hearing from you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's about time.
Thank you.
So I'll just conclude this segment of my report by saying that it's a very, very difficult job market out there currently. I mean, there is a shortage of administrators nationally, certainly one here in Massachusetts, and there is a great deal of vacancies out there. If you look, schools all over the Commonwealth have multiple principal and assistant principals opening in almost every district. And talking to other superintendents, it's a pretty tough fight out there trying to get qualified candidates. And as I hope you can see, we're winning that fight. We are doing an exceptional job of recruiting talent. People want to come here. We're lucky that some of these people have ties, and that's part of how we were able to get them back. But you can love a place all you want, but if you think that the job's not going to be a good one, right, or that working there is going to be difficult, that's going to temper that. What you see is the opposite of that, because I think a lot of people know that this is a place where we're building something, and that they want to be a part of that, and they can see the stability that we're able to create with all the moving going on. If you draw the lines through each school, there's stability in those leadership moves, and a belief that we're heading in the right direction. So we're very excited that this was a challenge that we faced with all these vacancies, but we were prepared for it. And I think we've done a good job of bringing in a mix of people who know us well and are new, and all kinds of different experiences that'll help to make our administrative team as strong as possible.
Mr. Geddes.
Thank you, Mr. Withers. And I think credit to the administration. Not only are we winning that battle, but we're winning it from within. The building of the farm system, so to speak, has been tremendous. And I think even the transitions that we've seen already taking place, both within each school building as well as within central administration, have been tremendous. And I think the top to bottom effects of that are starting to be felt across the district, both with the educators and with the families. And I was excited to hear a lot of common themes from everyone that was introduced to us tonight, like community engagement, relationship building. I think that's something that those are things that haven't always been a priority for a school district, and to see people not only coming in that have some strong experiences, but have those as priorities for themselves and their work environment is very encouraging. So thank you for all of your leadership in these searches.
Mr. Storrs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, again, a great job to echo to the administration. I also got to call out, our Director of Human Resources. It's a position years ago we pushed so hard to get, and what we saw tonight just shows how valuable and important that position really is. So I want to say great job in that direction. And I love the fact that probably half of those that were introduced were in some level homegrown. I love that about Attleboro. Today's assistant principal is tomorrow's future principal when somebody retires or moves up to other positions or what have you. So it's needed. So great job.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. And I think it's very telling. You don't have to go back that far in history to remember a time in which the staffs in most buildings, did not have a good relationship with their administrators. And so to see so many schools want the assistant that they already had to be their principal, they know these people, warts and all, right? And that they, had no question in their mind that this was the person that they wanted leading their building, says something about the quality of the work that they're seeing. And we understand as a district that it's our job to put our principals and our assistant principals in the best possible position to do the best work. Because to remind us all, the teachers are the most important people, right? They're the ones that create the learning experiences. They're the ones that make the difference. But the administration either can make that job easier or harder. And so when teachers work for someone who makes their lives easier and not harder, they really, really appreciate that. And obviously that's what these people are doing.
Mr. Larson.
I hope the public appreciates the healthy organization that the school district is. I mean, healthy organizations cultivate people to move up within it. Healthy organizations also pull people from the outside to them. And that was on complete display tonight. So, I mean, I think all the hard work that's been done over the last few years and the rest of it, creating the organization that we have, I think it was on full display tonight. So, my thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Storchio.
And I just got to say that we're going to need some sort of chart to like the faces. You think I'm kidding?
Yeah,
You
no,
actually
I
think
don't
I'm
think
kidding
you're
at this
kidding.
point. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, we're not even
We're gonna
done,
have to
so.
update the website.
We'll make you a cheat sheet.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Unfortunately, I have to shift to a less pleasant topic. We have not met, as Chairman pointed out, since the tragedy in Uvalde. And I did send out a message, so it's not like we haven't said anything, but I feel like as we're here together tonight, I need to say it again that, first and foremost, there's something wrong that we even have to talk about this, right? There's a clear indication that there's a problem. And I appreciate the anger and outrage, which I believe is understandable and appropriate, right? The reaction to this makes sense to me because, again, there's something wrong and we shouldn't have to be worrying about this. We have more important things, and this is ridiculous. And it's really important that we don't allow ourselves to become complacent, right? To somehow feel like this is normal. There's nothing normal about this. So I get that it causes a great deal of anxiety, and again, there's quite a bit of anger. But I don't want us, in our desire to feel like we need to do something in reaction to the way we feel about this, to do something that's going to have unintended consequences that are, more negative than, the threat that we're all feeling. I want to say emphatically that, the schools are safe, right? And I obviously think that. Not only do I report to work, and everybody that I supervise, I let them come to work. But my wife comes to work. I send my kids to school every day. And while, as I said in my update to you, there is nothing anyone can do to promise that could never happen. I do feel confident in all the steps we take to make sure that doesn't happen, that we do what we can. And I wanted to say that, the pandemic has certainly been taking up quite a bit of our attention, and so we haven't really talked about safety in a couple of years. And so perhaps this is a prompt that we should do that. But that conversation should largely happen in executive session because, we can't have a thoughtful discussion about it without getting into some of the details that it's not appropriate to say publicly, right? Because part of what makes the district safe is that, some of the things that we do, people aren't aware of, and that's part of why they work, right? Because one of the things that the real challenge here is that if somebody wants to come and do harm, there's little you can do to prevent that from happening. So the easier we make that by having them know exactly how things work, the more likely it is that it'll be successful, and the more that there are things that they don't understand helps to create obstacles for their bad intentions. I also wanted to tell the committee and families that happen to be listening, this is something we take very, very seriously. And because we think it's important that people feel safe, we feel like if we give these issues too much attention, we send the unintended message that we're worried and that we're creating a sense of fear around this, which is what the whole point of terror is, right? I mean, to the degree that this is an act of terrorism, the point is to scare people. And some of the copycat things that we sometimes deal with, that's exactly what it is, right? People are trying to play on our fears to interrupt our good work. And to the degree that we can combat that without bringing attention to it, we will continue to do that because we think it's a distraction from our good work. And we try our best to create a safe environment, and a safe environment is one in which kids don't every day have to be scared by, the latest thing that just happened. Now, sometimes there are reasons why we have to share information with families. information becomes, people become aware of a situation, people have questions. There's, 8 police cars at the high school. That was a call that we had last week. Turns out they were, I don't know where they were from. I think they were visiting Mr. Reed in criminal justice for a presentation, right? Sometimes they're good answers, but under these conditions, people have questions. And so we try to be transparent with people, with families, with the committee about, I think we are transparent about information as there are questions about it. But I'm here to tell you, this is a daily thing that we deal with. We're educating children. Children make bad decisions. They say dumb things sometimes. And we treat every single incident of that as a serious matter. We do not rest until we are confident that there isn't real threats. And that's the thing, is that's why do we need so many administrators? A lot of time has to be spent sorting through, where are there kids who need help and services and are actually, something to be concerned about, and where are kids just being kids and saying dumb things. And, trying to sort that out is time consuming, but it's something that we are grappling with day in and day out in this district. And, for instance, when kids talk about guns in class, we get reports about that all the time. Again, I'm not talking about a threat to come in and shoot up the school. You would hear about that. But when kids just make a casual remark that upsets somebody, every time that gets reported, principals are calling the police, getting the police involved. There's safety checks. There's all kinds of things that go on day in and day out that are part of why we feel like we're doing all that work ahead of things to prevent a problem, rather than just worrying about creating a fortress in case somebody comes here to do harm. And that's the other thing I wanted to say, is that without, again, getting into too much detail in a public setting, we've talked to consultants, and largely our feeling is that our efforts to harden schools don't bear fruit, right? That ultimately, no matter how much of a moat you put around the schools, there's always the human element, which is ultimately, the greatest threat. If people don't follow the protocols that we set, if people prop open doors, one of the things we're really looking forward to in the new high school is that there is a serious reduction of doors, because even in light of everything that's happened, we're still, you still find doors propped at Attleboro High School. So there's the human element, which is ultimately the thing that undermines any attempt at safety. And, we have to work on that and continue to be vigilant and try to explain to people why they can't do those things. But the idea of, adding any of the elements you hear people talk about, I think a careful consideration is warranted. And, whatever, the district wants to do, whatever you have the school committee think is the best option in those settings in which we talk about it, we're happy to do those things. But I think if we get into some thoughtful discussions, you'll agree that much of the rhetoric around how to keep schools safe is really, talk, and not actually what the people that, we have worked with and talked with have advised us is really going to make a difference. What makes a difference is, continuing to have these conversations, continuing to work with people to make sure that we follow our protocols, work with the police, who are an excellent partner in all of this. We have a great relationship with APD. And they are, one of the people who advise us and help us to make good decisions about these things. These are the things that we have to do, and we do them. And happy to schedule time to do a more thoughtful presentation on that, if that's something that the committee is interested in.
Questions? Mr. Geddes?
More of a comment. Thank you, Mr. Sawyer, for what you had mentioned. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to comprehend, and it's a lot to deal with. I have appreciated our district's approach to being more proactive and preventative with these issues, and I look forward to seeing how our new social and emotional learning positions and how those positions develop within the schools to support the administration. I think that's something that we have to look forward to. And more generally, it's an unfortunate generation. I was talking to my wife the other day about how, our parents had to deal with nuclear fallout drills, where, as silly as it was, they were hiding under the desk if there was thought of a nuclear bomb coming, and these students are living with active shooting drills, which I think are necessary, but it's an unfortunate it's a terribly unfortunate reality that I think we need to continue to do our little part to be more proactive and preventative in what we're doing to provide the services and supports that our students need to prevent such a student action within the buildings, and hopefully prevent actions later on in life as well.
Mr. Storrs?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, you mentioned it, and it shouldn't be understated that the assistant principals that we were just introduced to, and all the others throughout the district, a big part of it really is the social emotional, the behavioral, the safety, the security. They, are directly involved in those things, and that's very important. That's why expanding for, partially why it was so important for us to get to this point where we are now. So I wanted to reiterate that because it's very important. I do think that it's been a few years since we've had one of those executive sessions where we talked in detail about certain security-related things. I think that would be a good thing to have.
Yep. Yeah, agreed. I think we'll set something up for either late summer or early fall when we have an idea, with the new high school, if there's anything that we need to wait on or we'll discuss that, but we'll have a executive session on that in the next couple of months.
Sounds good. All right, my one final piece of business tonight. I just want to inform the committee, I think I did in one of the updates, this is the last week of testing for the district ever. We're closing down the program. The state's not funding it anymore. No more testing this summer, no testing next fall, no more staff testing, no more student testing. We do have, at the advice of the state, we have stockpiled as many of the at-home tests as we could get our hands on. When people are concerned whether or not they might have COVID, that we were happy to share those with our families. And then if there's another variant and another surge in the future, the state has made it very clear we're on our own. They told us to stockpile masks and the tests. I'm here to tell you, we could decorate the schools with masks as wallpaper. We'll be dealing with masks for a long time. So the masks are covered. The tests, I don't know how long they'll last. The tests, yeah, I don't know how they'll last, but we have a good set of them, and we're just moving on. And wanted to let you know that this was the last week, and no more consent, no more pool testing. It's all done.
Mr. Frappier?
Just a question. If a community member feels they would like to have access to some of those tests, who would they reach out to get access to that?
The school nurse.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Sawyer. A few more things. Minutes from our last two meetings, May 9th, 2022 and May 23rd, 2022 meetings. Those minutes were circulated with your materials. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or edits? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, consent agenda tonight, 6 items. Motion to accept a cash donation in the amount of $750 to the Skills USA at the Attleboro High School. Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $50 from Target to the high school gifts donation line. Motion to accept a donation in the amount of $241.46 from Bliss Brothers to the Attleboro High School Student Council. Motion to accept a payment in the amount of $5.50 from Bay State Textiles to Hill Roberts. Motion to accept the contractual obligation in the amount of $49.10 from Planet Aid, Inc., as broken down on the check receipt dated May 19th, 2022. Motion to accept a donation from the Feinstein Foundation in the amount of $5,000 for the Willett Elementary School gifts donation line.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 2 subcommittee meeting reports tonight. We'll start with teaching and learning. Ms. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. Withers. This is the report for the Teaching and Learning Subcommittee meeting of May 10th. There's 2 main topics that we discussed. The meeting was opened with a presentation by Mr. Gay, the director of CTE, and he came and spoke to the subcommittee to provide an overview of the CTE program, as well as the current and future offerings. And if you will indulge me for a moment, I do want to share with the committee and read a list of the 15 current programs that we have right now. And that includes automotive technology, criminal justice, electrical, marketing, plumbing, carpentry, culinary arts, engineering, medical assisting, radio and television broadcasting, computer information systems, early education and care, graphic design and communications, metal fabrication and joining technology, robotics and automation technology. And I want to take a moment to read those because there's been a lot of changes and additions in the past few years. And I think it's important that the community, as well as the committee, just sit and reflect on, wow, what a robust program that we have. And how lucky we are to have a comprehensive high school where we have these CTE programs in addition to our academic programs, and how we're able to meld the programs together. I know there was an article in the Sun Chronicle today, and I didn't get a chance to read it, but I got a chance to skim it, talking about how the technical high schools in the area what their offerings are. And again, just so lucky to have this comprehensive high school in Attleboro so that our students have these options available to them and they don't need to travel out of district, and that they can stay with their peer groups as they have access to these CTE programs. And also on deck, coming up next year, we're going to be adding dental assisting and HVAC, and fall of 2023, we're going to be adding cosmetology. So it's, again, just really lucky to have all these options available to us. Not only do the CTE program give our students the option of going directly into the workforce after graduation, but it gives them a leg up if they decide to go into military or to pursue post-secondary education. Mr. Gay also went over with us to let us know how we decide which programs are added to CTE. So I know I get that question a lot myself. And it's a multifaceted approach, but one of the main factors is that there needs to be a data-driven labor market analysis. So not only do we have a great depth and breadth of options available to us, we know that these options are something that will be valuable and something that the students are going to be able to leverage upon graduation. One other thing that he brought to our attention, which was a little new to me, but in the past, as I said, I write off a whole big list of options. And in the past, freshmen, when they went through their freshman year and they went through exploratory, they would choose from a suite of classes. Suite A might have these 4 or 5 classes, Suite B might have these 4 or 5 classes. However, going forward, freshmen are going to be able to have a rotation in each one of the classes that are offered, which is so beneficial on so many levels. He shared with us stories of students who never thought they would be interested in this particular class, begrudgingly went to that class as part of their exploratory, and ended up selecting that and graduating in that particular CTE program. So it was all very, very interesting. Another really important thing to note is that since 2019, the percentage of freshmen choosing to enroll in CTE has risen from 53% to 91%. So I think that really shows that we're doing something right in our CTE programs. Any questions or thoughts anybody wants to add? Yes, Mr. Storrs?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Yeah, I just, the building, not too far that way, I think is a huge testament to just how valuable CTE is for this city. The fact that you go back 5 years ago, there were people out there talking about doing a high school without CTE, to me, is absolutely mind-boggling. I don't think anybody in this room would have ever voted to go that route, but the fact that there were people out there trying to push to get rid of CTE, while we're over here doing everything in our power to expand, and 17 programs next year, 18 the year. I mean, it's just amazing. So again, the fact that that high school is going to now be open to the community, so that they can come in and experience so many of these different programs, it really needs to be stated.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about the marketplace opening up, for sure. The other topic we discussed at the subcommittee meeting was the portrait of a graduate. This is currently a pilot program that we're hoping will become a portfolio for students, eventually from kindergarten to age 12, and there's going to be a lot of different benefits to this that students can look back and follow their growth. It'll be another communication tool for teachers to get to know their students. Again, this was piloted this year. We got to see an example of what the portfolio could look like. We talked about the current platform that we're using, discussed if we're going to continue with that platform or use different platforms going forward. So it's still a work in progress, but I believe I'm speaking for the committee as a whole to say that in general we're very excited with the concept. I'm really excited to see this move forward. So, any questions about the portrait of graduate? No? Okay. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Finance and Budget, Mr. Larson.
Thank you. The Finance and Budget Subcommittee met on June 1st. Mr. Furtado took us through the monthly reports. It's encouraging with all the challenges we've had this year and the rest of it. We are fully expecting to have a small surplus at the end of the year. Obviously, the heat situation over the course of the year has been a challenge. We've had some unexpected significant special ed expenses as well as transportation, but with some savings in some of the other line items and also some money that came from the state at kind of the 11th hour, and also using some other funds that we had available, we'll be able to get through those challenges and finish the year in a good situation. We also had an MSBA update. So as most of us all know, the high school project is rapidly approaching a very big milestone when people are going to start moving in. The project is still on time and on budget. They have had a few, there's some cloth on some of the seats in the auditorium that were delayed a little bit. There's some shelving units that were delayed a little bit, but they're all going to show up in time to not really have any significant impact. The fourth, third, and second floors of the building are done from what we've been told. There's a punch list that they're working through on the first floor. As some of you know, they actually finished the building from top to bottom. It's just the way they do it, they keep telling me. So that was encouraging to hear. All of the heating systems in all of our buildings through COVID have been doing things that they really weren't designed to do, and that's incorporating so much fresh air and really running almost 24/7 when they really weren't designed to do that. They were all designed to get turned off at night and come back on in the morning and keep people in that situation. So we're extremely fortunate. The train contract that we entered into a month or so ago is operational at this point. There's different parts of that have already started. There's more that'll be going on over the summer, and there's parts of it that'll start up in the fall. So we're extremely encouraged that we'll be able to keep the buildings the way that they're supposed to be going forward, because there's quite a few of us that have been very concerned about the mechanical systems in a lot of the buildings doing things that they really were never designed to do. The floors at Hyman Fine and Hill Roberts are still on schedule to be replaced or refinished. Replaced or refinished? Replaced, thank you. This summer, so that is all still on schedule. And as a bit of a surprise at the meeting, we heard that the city has committed to a AC program to air condition Willett Elementary School in a half and half situation. So that's incredibly great news, especially for all the folks that have been over at Willett. I think the only part of the building that has been air conditioned is the library. So to get the rest of the building air conditioned will certainly be very exciting. Does anyone have any questions? That's what the conclusion of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. That concludes our subcommittee meeting reports for tonight. Next, we have open forum. Is there anyone who would like to address the committee at open forum tonight? All right, I will go ahead and close open forum. Any new business? Mr. Geddes?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just as an update, a couple of updates related to the Lights Out extravaganza, also very quickly approaching. Saturday, June 18th, 6 p.m. here at the high school, we will be saying our farewells in a very social and exciting event. The ticket sales have been extended. As a reminder, tickets will not be available at the door. People will not be able to pay the $25 and get in at the door. But ticket sales were extended based on demand to this Thursday at midnight. So Thursday, June 9th. Correct me. Okay, I'm seeing head none, so I got that guessed correctly. Thursday, June 9th at midnight. There is a new link that I believe is on Facebook. I'll be sharing it out with the committee, so if the committee, if you haven't had a chance to buy your tickets, this will be an easier way to do it. But also, if anyone is asking you about how to get tickets still, you can provide that to them as well. One other item, the group that has been looking at the preservation of the current high school and determining what items to make available to the committee had met a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about the potential that some folks may walk through this building on the 18th and say, you know, I wish you had made that available, or I wish you had made that available. And there are some things that based on contracts through the city that we can't make available, and there is a lengthy process with the city for any of those items to become available. With our votes in April, at our April 25th meeting, we covered a lot of the items that were going to be available that night. We did omit one set of items, so I'd like to make a motion for those. So I'm going to make a motion to surplus the wall mats in the large gymnasium at the current Attleboro High School to be sold by the Blue Pride Ambassadors Club for the express and exclusive benefit of the city of Attleboro.
So moved.
Second.
Like I said, we had omitted this from our list back in April. So this is a longer timeline, so they won't be available at the Lights Out extravaganza. But as we had agreed with in our meetings and discussions with the city, these items, the sale of these items would go through Blue Pride Ambassadors Club to the city of Attleboro with the expectation that they would come back to benefit the schools through a trust fund after all of the proceeds have been provided or completed. So.
I just have a question. Wall mats, are these the ones the kids run into, or are these like the decorative ones at the top? Like what?
The protective ones? Yeah.
Thank
the ones,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Mr. Storrs,
Have we reached out to the other schools or looked at the other schools to see if there would be value in moving them to one of our facilities?
That's part of the process. It goes to the schools and the city districts, and then if everyone says they don't want them, then we could sell them.
So this has been done?
Yeah. Well, it has to be done as part of the process, yes.
Well, hold on. Oh,
It's been done with the schools, and then it gets done with the city. So it hasn't been done with the city yet.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, but my
Yes.
question was about the school, so.
Yes.
It was,
Yeah, similar to the furniture and all of that. Yep.
So this goes to the city next. We've already done our diligence with the schools.
Yeah.
If we pass this motion, it's on the council now.
Right, it goes to the city, and then it goes to all the departments. The
Well,
departments
the mayor's
right.
office and then.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you.
And then if no city department lays claim to it, then it goes to a vote for the municipal council.
This might be a very silly question. I hate to assume what people might do with them. Are we expecting there's actually some usable life left in these, or is it just more for memorabilia?
There's a planned use for them. There's someone who's interested in buying them for
Thank you.
their
I thought we were
intended use.
auctioning
Yeah.
like, oh, then remember the mats. And I got
There's-
very confused about what we're doing here.
There's someone who's interested in purchasing them for.
That makes
yeah.
a lot of sense.
These will not be valued as highly as any cheerleading national championship trophies or anything like that.
Appreciate it.
Do you want me to?
I'll take the.
Yeah.
So the motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anything else, Mr. Geddes?
That's it. Make sure you get your tickets before Thursday at midnight.
Any other new business? All right, so that's the end of our agenda. We will be meeting in executive session. The Attleboro School Committee will convene an executive session. First, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A, 2, and 3, to discuss strategy with respect to negotiations with non-union personnel and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the school committee. And pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 2, to conduct a hearing on a grievance by the Attleboro Education Association. The school committee will not return in open session.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Domenici?
Yes.
Ms. Porto?
Yes.
Ms. Storrs?
Yes.
Mr. Larson?
Yes.
Mr. Willis, yes. Mr. Geddes?
Yes.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Frappier?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
All right, so we're adjourned, we're in executive session. The AEA has been patiently waiting longer than I had told them they would have to, so why don't we take 2 minutes and let AACS wrap up and then get them in here so they can go home.